This is The Tea Project with your host, Gadiel and Michelle, a husband and wife duo where they will be discussing countless topics such as parenting and marriage, personal finance, managing a household, personal and professional development, and so much more. Gadiel is a father, husband, a military veteran, and a lawyer. Michelle is a mother, wife, boss, and above all, a productivity enthusiast. Each week, they will be providing you with fresh and valuable content, so stay tuned. And now, welcome to The Tea Project.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Money Talks on Tea Project.
Hi everybody.
Today we're going to talk about the stimulus check from the CARES Act. Everybody, that's the hot topic right now, is how much we're going to get, who qualifies for the stimulus check. But before we get into that, we're going to briefly talk about Money Talks, how we're kind of changing our name, our new focus for the podcast. Michelle, you want to shed some light on that?
All right, so first of all, I want to say that I hope you, the listeners, are doing well and staying home and staying healthy and safe. So for those of you who have been following us since the beginning of the year, it just seems like it's been a long time with this. You know that our logo looked a little different. It had like a T, a E, and A, and then the T stands for time, E for efficiency, A for action. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Okay. And the idea was that we were going to focus on productivity.
Right.
Or actually, we were going to focus on productivity, parenting, money, and we realized, or we know that we had to niche down. And one of the things that probably the topics that come to us more often than not is personal finance. So It just seemed like it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Get us to focus in or hone in on personal finance. So now the new logo, you'll see that it's just the same, teacups or the coffee cups or coffee mugs. And then now you no longer see time, efficiency, and action anymore. You will now see Money Talks with
on Tea Project.
On Tea Project, yeah.
You had a niche down, and this was sort of like the natural thing for us,
Yeah, a lot of people just, if we asked around, what would you like to hear about next? They came back and asked, we want to hear more personal finance stuff.
Right. Okay, folks, so that's that. Let's get into the stimulus check.
All right, so let's start with, so some of these questions they came from friends and family, and some of them were just even our own questions.
Right.
So we went and did the research, read the couple of the information on there, and put it all together. So first question is, who is eligible for the stimulus pay?
Okay, so I'll take that. So essentially, there's three categories. Either you file your taxes as single, married, or head of household. So I'll break it down with single. If you file your tax return single and your AGI is under $75,000, you will receive a stimulus check of $1,200. If your AGI is between $75,001 and $99,000, it will be reduced.
And we'll talk about that one in the next one.
And we'll talk about that after I give the breakdown here. If your AGI is more than $99,001, you will not receive a stimulus check. If you file your tax return as married and your AGI is under $150,000, you will receive a stimulus check, you and your spouse, $1,200 each.
$2,400.
If your AGI is between $150,001 and $198,000, you will receive a reduction in your stimulus check. You filed as head of household, and your AGI is under $112,500, you'll receive a check for $1,200. If it's between $112,501 and $146,500, you will receive a reduction in your stimulus check. Now, let's do the math, the equation on the reduction.
So we'll give a quick example now shortly, but what if you have children?
If you have children and you qualify for a stimulus check full or even a reduction, it's $500 per child age 16 and under.
Okay. All right. So let's break down. Let's say a single person.
So if you're in the reduction check, you make more. That means you make more than $75,001 in between $99,000. You'll get a reduction. So in this example, say you make $80,000.
Your excess is 5.
Your excess is 5,000 divided by 100 times 5. You'll get a reduction of $250 from your $1,200. That means you would get a check for $950.
Yep.
So it's essentially $5 per every $100 in excess of the $75,000.
So, all right. So then the next question is, what if my income was above the threshold in 2019, but I've lost my job due to the coronavirus? So that one, I think it's just simple. It's just you pretty much your only option is just to go to unemployment.
Right.
If you're an employee, unemployment. If you're self-employed, you can talk about that one.
Right. So now they are allowing self-employed and independent contractors to apply for unemployment benefits. That was not the case prior to this new bill, but it is now. Why? Because there are a lot of folks that were affected by the COVID-19. So they want to help out even independent contractors and self-employed.
All right. So the other question is the rebate taxable, or will I have to pay this money back?
Right. That's a good question.
So there's three pieces to the to a tax return. You have your income, and you have deductions, and then you have tax credits.
Right.
So it's a good thing. This is not income.
Right.
So income obviously is you have to pay taxes for it. So it's not deductions either. Deductions actually reduce your income. But what it is tax credits. And
right.
Tax credit is basically just a reduction of whatever tax liability you'll have in 2020 when you file it in 2021. So for simplicity purposes, it's just if you owe $1,000 or I don't know, say $5,000 next year in taxes, right. Then that $5,000 will be reduced by the amount that you received now in the stimulus package. So right. Let's say it was, I don't know, $3,400 for a family of 4. Right. Then you would only owe now, what, $1,600? Mm-hmm. That would be your tax liability to pay 2020. for 2020.
So it's a good benefit.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. That's about 4 of them, but they all kind of have similar answers right. to them.
Right.
So the first one is, who qualifies as a child for purposes of the rebate? Do dependents other than children under 17 qualify as taxpayer for the additional $500? Are individuals with little to no income or those on means-tested federal benefits such as SSI eligible for recovery rebate? And are seniors whose only income is Social Security or a veteran who has veterans disability payment eligible?
Right. So this one is basically, it comes down to this. You cannot be a dependent on someone else's tax return.
You won't be able to get it.
You won't be able to get it. It's just flat out, you won't get it.
So that's like the first thing that you have to look at is, are you a dependent?
Right.
And then the second thing you have to look at is,
well, the second thing is, did you file? Did you file a tax return? If you didn't, and for example, you are an SSI recipient, then you can simply, there's a form that the IRS will provide you. You have to file it. It's called a Form SSA 1099 Social Security Benefit Statement. You got to file something. So even for those folks who are just simply receiving Social Security, you at least got to file that if you don't file a tax return. So 1, you can't be independent, and 2, you got to file some form of document.
All right. So now, what about if you are eligible to receive payment or to receive the stimulus package? When shall we receive it? So,
well, April 16th. That's the.
As long as you did direct deposit.
As long as you did direct deposit, that's important, because if you didn't, then you'll be getting in the mail, and who knows when you'll get it in the mail.
It could take months.
It could take months. So that but the majority of folks did direct deposit. So you should get direct deposit, your stimulus check, based on the direct deposit of your recent tax return filing.
Okay, so just you really like we were saying earlier before we started the podcast, you don't need to file, or there isn't action required for you to receive this money as long as you've actually filed your tax return.
Right.
So if you haven't filed your tax return 2018 or 2019, highly recommend that you go see your accountant so that you can get that squared away. And then our last question.
Okay, what about folks who were paying the IRS some form of penalty or...
So from what I've gathered is that everybody should, or for the most part, those who have a qualifying Social Security number, they've filed their tax returns. They've, they can owe taxes.
Right.
They can owe student loans. They can owe whatever, and all the administrative sets or offsets have been removed, with the exception of those for child support. So I think for the most part, it's really just those that would be not in this category or whatever you want to call it.
Right. They have essentially turned off the enforcement part of garnishing your refund, for the exception of those paying child support, and their state has reported them to the IRS.
Wait, repeat that one again?
Yeah, so essentially the IRS will not enforce any refund garnishes. That's what they are. For any penalties that you owe, or any student loans that have gone defaulted, that's something you can't get away, so they can garnish your tax refund. So they're not going to do that right now. Child support. With the exception of child support.
Right.
If your state has reported you to the IRS, so the IRS can start garnishing your refunds, they will continue doing that, to include the stimulus check. Anything else you want to provide to the good folks here?
Again, just stay home, flatten the curve. We're all in this together. Hashtag.
Social distancing is very important. Wash your hands, use soap, take care of your elders, your kids, those who are limited in mobility, and stay positive. Okay, folks, God bless, and we'll talk to you next time.
Till next time.